Well, good Friday morning, everybody, and welcome to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show is always brought to you by our friends at Tanner Health System. It is 8:30, of course, on Friday. I'm your host, Colin Worthington. Our guest this morning, dashing and pressed as ever, Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley. Good morning.
Well, good morning, and thank you.
How about I know, boy, we've got so many rules with this Facebook Live thing that we're going on. I probably should say hi to our friends on Facebook Live this morning, so we kind of forget where to put the mic, but it's most important that we talk on the radio.
Good morning.
That's just extra. Good morning. Thank you. We got a few things to talk to you about today, but something really exciting. I think it's coming up next week or maybe in 2 weeks, but it's the annual soup tasting event, and you straighten me out. You tell me how much I'm wrong on this. This is about your 15th or 16th year of doing that.
It is the 15th year.
So you started out doing it, it was kind of part of running for sheriff. It was more publicity
Correct.
for you.
It started out as a campaign event, and through the years, we just in off election years and even in election years, we use those proceeds for nonprofits, and we've helped schools, churches, and probably every nonprofit in Carroll County for some time or another have gotten a check from the soup tasting.
And it's not like a lot of people don't go to this, if that makes sense.
Well, the people have been
well
very
attended.
good to attend. We've had great crowds, and our next one, which will be the 15th annual, and it will be March the 23rd. Thursday, March 23rd.
It's my mom's birthday, by the way.
5 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Ag Center. And this year the proceeds we're going to help a local nonprofit communities in schools of Carrollton City and Carroll County.
How did you hear about this nonprofit and its need?
Well, I've heard about it for some time, but my wife is also the executive director of it, and but it's been a need for some time. It's been here in Carroll County about 5 years now, and their purpose is to bring to identify those kids that are at risk and bring the services they need to help them be successful and to graduate. So it's to raise the graduation rate and identify those kids that might otherwise drop out of school.
And it's not necessarily something that's sponsored by the school systems. I mean, this is like a supplement to the school systems, and I point that out because they have spoken highly of it, like it's been successful. I mean, they're wanting
yes,
it started out like in 1 or 2 schools locally, but they've expanded it, right?
Correct. It's a national dropout prevention program. It's a national program, and we were able, through grants and what have you, about 5 years ago to get it here in Carroll County. Originally, it started with Carrollton City. We had a site coordinator there and one at Villarica, but now all the high schools, thankful to both school systems, the city school system and the county, have partnered, and we have site coordinators in every high school.
And again, they've mentioned at several meetings how it is a good supplement to keeping the kids in school and helping them out.
Absolutely.
Making sure they graduate. Again, this event is coming up against 2 Thursdays, not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after. What's the price on that?
The tickets are $5. Mm-hmm. You can buy them at the door, or you can buy them at the sheriff's office, either one. $5, all you can eat. We have chili, vegetable soup, French onion soup, homemade desserts, live music with Jerry Rogers. And this year we have special sponsors, Scott Evans Dodge. We have Sit and Sleep. We have Barnes Store, Omnicall, Morgan Oil Company have all pitched in to sponsor us this year. We also have a little extra this year. We will be drawing the raffle ticket for a brand new 2017 Jeep Wrangler, and it will be right off the bat. The winning ticket will be picked, and that was generously donated by Scott Evans and Scott Evans Dodge and Jeep. And so that's adding a little centerpiece to it. We're going to have door prizes there. We'll probably be raffling off for a weapon, a pistol, probably a Glock 43, a Yeti cooler. Sit and Sleep is generously donated a Lazy Boy recliner. Morgan Oil's $250 in fuel, and all the proceeds goes to communities and schools this year.
And I believe last year you guys had 1,100 people, somewhere around there.
We have had as many as 1,100, probably averaged around 700 probably, but we've had as high as 1,100. We sure have.
But you're going to eat that Thursday, so you might as well go spend $5 and get all you can eat, soup, and I'm sure there's some kind of bread and crackers with that too.
Oh,
right?
yes, cornbread, crackers, cheese, all the fixings. It's become kind of a social event. When we started out, we had no idea we'd be still doing it 15 years later. But it's helped. We've been able to generate, and people just expect us to do it. Mm-hmm. And those nonprofits come back every year expecting another check, so we go ahead and do that too. We're glad to help out.
Well, I'm sure communities and schools and their executive director, I'm sure they appreciate you doing that this year. We had talked to investigator Ashley Halsey last night about a couple of scams that are kind of rearing their ugly head, and I think a lot of us have heard of them before. And I'm sure a lot of people who have heard them are like, no, that won't happen to me. But I guess when these people get on the phone and call you up, they can be tricky or fast talking and maybe catch you off guard a little bit, because there were some reports filed this week that people fell victim to them.
Absolutely. It's not a new scam that's going around, but we do want all the citizens of Carroll County to beware. It's an old scam, but it's come back again. It's called the grandparent scam. They'll call and say, we're so-and-so, we need you to wire some money somewhere because your grandson or daughter is in jail. They were in an accident, and they put the granddaughter or son on the phone. And it doesn't usually sound like them, but they say, well, we're on medication, or I was injured in the wreck, but it's me. And they get a lot of information off Facebook to be able to make it sound believable. And they want you to wire money somewhere, and it's a total scam, but it's come up recently again in our community. And the most important thing, when in doubt, just call your local law enforcement or the sheriff's office and check it out. And when they're trying to rush you to make a wire money or send money or give some of your information, don't be rushed into something. That's a scam. Secondly, there's a scam going around again that says they call and act like they're at the sheriff's department or police department, and they're saying that you missed court. You had a jury summons or you had a subpoena for court, you didn't come, and it looks like now I'm going to have to send a deputy out to arrest you, or you can send some money in, or you can give us your credit card number or whatever. It's a total scam. We do not do that. People do not call you and threaten you. And certainly call your local law enforcement. When in doubt at any time. Some people say, well, I didn't want to bother you because it was a stupid question. There is no stupid questions. That's what we're there for. So call us. We'll check it out for you. Don't let them make you rush into making a decision or give out vital information like your Social Security or date of birth.
You mentioned that first one where it sounds like maybe it's your grandkid calling or something. Does that suggest that these the culprits are local?
Most of the time they're not local. And matter of fact, we get numbers every day when these callers call, and most of the time the number comes back to overseas. And most of probably 99% of the time they are not local. And so when they call you and threaten you or say, we're going to come out there, if you don't, we've had the cases where these scammers would call and say, well, you know what, we're in town, we'll come by, and they kind of threaten and try to intimidate. Certainly call us immediately about that, but they are not locally. Most of them the phone calls are coming from overseas.
And when you say that, it's pretty hard to catch up to these guys or gals and prosecute them. It's hard to catch up to them and get that money back. It's really unlikely. It's
extremely hard. By the time sometimes people know they've been scammed, the money is already gone.
Mm-hmm. Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. I understand that power's out. No, it's back on, actually. Villa Rica High School was without power for a little bit, but it's back on, so I guess you don't have to worry about that now at this point. But we'll come back and we'll take our first break and come back and talk more with the sheriff. He's got that soup tasting event coming up in 2 weeks, and we'll remind you who that benefits. Also want to talk about pay for sheriff's deputies and a couple other things that have been in the news recently. Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley, our guest on this morning's WLBB Community Voice. More after this.
In sports, when you play to win, you get your game on. Shouldn't the same be true when it comes to your health? At Tanner Health System, we're going to help you get your healthy on. Tanner is leading the way for you to eat better, get fit, manage or prevent diabetes, and live tobacco-free, so you and your family can get your healthy on every day. It all starts at gethealthylivewell.org. Check out upcoming healthy living events and join others in the community taking action to live well every day. GetHealthyLiveWell.org. Tanner Health System's way of helping you get your healthy on.
Need motivation and support to eat healthier, become more physically active, or quit tobacco? Tanner offers free classes to help you get your health on. Register today by calling 770-214-CARE. That's 770-214-CARE. Learn more at gethealthylivewell.org.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System. It is now 8:40, just about 20 minutes before 9 o'clock on this cloudy Friday. It's supposed to get some sunshine this afternoon, so things look better as we head into the weekend. Also, don't forget to set your clock forward 1 hour. And it just guts me thinking about it, though, man. You know, an hour may not seem like a big thing, but you lose an hour of sleep, it's a pretty big deal, at least for me.
Oh, yeah. To some people it is.
Hey, does the sheriff's office have any kind of reminder as far as, when you set your clocks back, as the fire department says, change change the batteries in your fire alarm? Is there anything like that the law enforcement deals with?
No.
Any cool reminders?
Well, we try to remind everybody we can, but particularly our employees, so that they show up on time.
Have you ever done that? You ever come in late, or know anybody ever come in late because of that, or early?
I'm sure it's happened. I have not done it yet.
You and I talked a lot this year, and actually, I want to say the last 4 or 5 years, about pay raises for sheriff's deputies and law enforcement. A couple years ago, all county employees did get a little bit of pay raise, including a lot of your deputies. This year, the Sheriff's Association, Georgia Sheriff's Association, after State Patrol got some raises in this year's budget, the Sheriff's Association says, hey, what about us? What about our local law enforcement? Local law enforcement is paid out of county budget, like the city law enforcement is paid out of the city budget. But they're trying to come up with some different ways to get you guys some extra money. And, obviously everybody believes that you guys deserve whatever you get because you're putting your lives on the line every day. But when you're working at the sheriff's level and people at the state level are making more money, those qualified guys, are more likely to want to go work for them. So you're going to lose a lot of quality employees. Where does that stand right now? How do you feel about this? I guess any progress that's being made at this point?
Well, I think some progress is being made. For one thing, the public is being made aware of the great discrepancy in pay. And like you said, I think anybody in law enforcement, state or local or federal, they're very much deserving of a pay raise. A few years ago, prior to the state getting a raise, we raised the issue because deputies were making a couple of $1,000s or $3,000 or $4,000 less than Carrollton Police in Villarica, right here in our own hometown, much less the state and other sheriff's departments. And we knew when the job market opened up, we were going to be in danger of becoming a training ground, losing our good people. We got 5 or 6 years invested, and that they would go for better pay, and you couldn't blame them if they could go just across town to Carrollton and get a job. Well, that's one part-time job they could cut out and be able to spend more time with their family. So, but what enhanced that even more, and thankfully the commissioners are listening and they have tried to do some things, but what has made that even more urgent in a crisis situation, then Governor Deal gives state law enforcement a 20% raise. So I've already gotten one individual has put in his notice to go to work with the State Department. And he's going to get like a $12,000 or $14,000 raise. So you cannot blame somebody for doing something like that. First day, making $12,000 or $14,000. Now a deputy sheriff here in Carroll County makes $32,000. A state trooper makes $46,000. And it's just hard to compete with that. And it's cost a lot of money to train and to try to keep these people. So it even enhanced that discussion. Sheriff's associations compensation package this time in the legislature has really been good, I think, as far as awareness, making people aware of the discrepancy from state law enforcement to local law enforcement. Local law enforcement does 90% of law enforcement. You all in Carroll County are going to deal 90% of the time with local police, a local sheriff. Now, I'm not throwing off on anybody else, but 90% of law enforcement is done locally. And so it's important. We need to keep those services. And the Sheriff's Association has made that aware. But we also realize that we don't think it ought to have to come out of the homeowners, people that own stuff, property taxes. It seems like that's the way we always come. So we're trying to find other ways where everybody pays, not just people that own property. And so one thing the Sheriff's Association suggested was a 1 cent sales tax statewide that would help just local law enforcement, not just the sheriffs, but also all the police departments and local law enforcement, to bring those pays up where they can compete and be able to keep qualified and good people that do most of the law enforcement on a local level.
Legislators would have to approve putting that on a referendum.
Yes, absolutely.
To where voters would approve that locally if they were interested in it. Do you know where that stands right now? Did that make it?
I don't think it's made it yet. There was a bill sponsored, and I can't remember his name, but I think it's probably going to be a couple of year process if it happens. And there was also a question asked about existing SPLOST money. It seems like on the local level that we have very little money because revenues have dropped. The state has taken away a lot of money from locals. So I don't agree with the governor that this is a local issue, that it's up to because the state is taking a rollback on taxes, state exemption taxes. The ad valorem tax now, state gets most of that. We use county employees to produce it. And also, we pay sales tax. The local person pays sales tax just like anything else. It doesn't make sense if you're a local taxpayer that you'd want to pay one group of law enforcement twice as much as you do the other. You're paying both of them. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to pay one more than the other? So I think it is a local issue to one respect, and we need to do what we can locally, but I also think it's a state issue. And so we always have plenty of SPLOST money, it seems. Sometimes I was told one time a few years ago we had more SPLOST money than we could spend. 1 cent sales tax money, special purpose sales tax money, but we had no general operating money. So we also asked, could there be a provision put in there that a certain percentage of SPLOST money could be used for general operating? Cap it, put some regulations on it.
Right, it would have to be put together by legislators, and that'll
have to be done by the legislators as well, but that would give property owners some relief. And then anybody that bought something pays sales tax. So, there's no fair tax. I hear that sometimes, fair tax. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but at some point you got to find the money somewhere to keep people safe here in our county. Not only the police, the fire department is very underfunded. We have a couple of fire stations that are being built, and there's no firemen to put in them. So I think government's first job is to protect the people.
Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley, our guest on this morning's WLBB Community Voice program. You'd mentioned to me maybe a couple months back that when we were talking about this specific issue, you said, I'm already 4 or 5 officers short. Now I risk losing more to the higher paying jobs. How do you decide when you're short? I mean, why did you decide on a certain amount? What's the need there for officers? And what are we missing out on when you're 5 officers short?
Well, it affects everything. One thing it does is we got the other officers having to work more hours, so you wear them out. Secondly, it could even affect response time. And, of course, it kills your overtime budget. And then if you have somebody sick or out, then it makes it even worse.
Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley, our guest on this morning's WLBB Community Voice program, just about 11 minutes before 9 o'clock. We still have a couple things we can talk about on this program. If you have a question or comment, want to join in here, give us a call. Phone number 678-601-8255, 678-601-TALK, T-A-L-K. And we'll take our break, come back with about 10 minutes left in the program with the Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley. More after this.
Do you want to be healthier as a family? Do you want to learn fun ways to exercise and be active? Do you want to find easy ways to add more fruits and veggies to your diet? Parents are on the front line when it comes to the fight against childhood obesity, and you could use some backup. Help your children get a healthy start and call 770-214-CARE to join Tanner Health System's Kids and Fitness program. Kids and Fitness is a free, evidence-based healthy lifestyle program for children ages 8 to 16 and their parents. Developed by a team of doctors and health professionals, the program includes nutrition lessons, physical activity, goal setting, support sessions for parents, and healthy snacks. Register today by calling 770-214-CARE or register online at gethealthylivewell.org. That's gethealthylivewell.org. Tanner Health System's way of helping you and your family get your healthy on.
All right, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice Program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System. Colin Worthington, your host this morning. 10 minutes left in our program with Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley. A couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, a big announcement made by University of West Georgia. You teaming up with them, Carrollton Police, University of West Georgia Police teaming up to kind of nip in the bud some things that have become issues off-campus apartments. There was a murder there a few months back. You can read about some drug-related issues, arrests, pretty much every other weekend at least, if you look in the jail there, and you can see those going on. I guess talk about how you guys were prompted, how you were motivated to put this team together, and what do you hope to do? What do you hope to accomplish with that?
Well, there's been several issues and high-profile cases that came out of some people that were distributing drugs. And then it ended up being some violent action, some shootings, and some people got shot in close proximity to the university, and where a lot of students have housing. And Dr. Marrero and Chief Richards and I got together and said, we need to address these problems. The University of West Georgia in our area is extremely safe. It's probably one of the safest areas anywhere, but there are some issues. And these high-profile situations or incidents that we had made us aware that there's a problem and it must be addressed before it really gets out of control. So we have resources. We've pooled our resources, and our job is not to, just go out and make some arrests. It's visibility. It's also to send a message to those that want to distribute narcotics, whether it be marijuana, meth, pills, or whatever, that they need to move their business somewhere else or go to jail. And we think these situations were caused by people that set up in proximity of the college to try to sell to college students. And some of them may have been college students, and some of the victims may have been college students. So it was a big challenge, and I think it's something that we must address before it gets out of hand. Now, these are just a few isolated instances, but it was something I think that we need to do, and we're going to have more visibility, and we're doing some undercover operations to see and to target those people that are selling drugs. Our focus is not on the user at this point. Our focus is on the seller. And we believe that's what's caused a lot of these violent, because you get distribution going, you get money going, then you get robbery, you get turf wars and those kind of things. And we just wanted to nip it in the bud and get that under control before it got out of hand.
Now, we were at that press conference on Facebook Live when you guys presented that. A lot of support for it, but there was also pushback on, why are we worried about marijuana? Why is that the big deal? When you hear about the harder drugs and things like that, I mean, obviously marijuana is illegal, but, I mean, they're just kind of saying, do we really think that marijuana is the root of all this?
Marijuana's not the issue with me. The distribution of marijuana may be. The sale of narcotics, and it's not just marijuana. They sell meth, they sell pills, they sell other things. Because we know that these murders and shootings are a result of those people that were distributing narcotics. Now, it may have been marijuana. In one case it was. It may have been other things. The focus to me is not the marijuana. It's the illegal sale of narcotics that has produced robberies, shootings, and those type things. We're not out here trying to catch a student with a joint in their pocket. That's not our focus. Our focus is those people that have moved into our area. I don't think there's a lot of them, and think that, we can be just outside the campus, and then we got all these students, and so that's a lot of good customers, potentially, they think, and we're just not going to allow it. But we're not focusing on people smoking marijuana. It's the people that are selling whatever drug it is, whether it be marijuana or whatever.
And the money exchange and things like that, that's kind of leading to the violence, I'm guessing. The money.
Oh, yeah, when you get a distribution going, and you got money, you got robberies, you got sometimes gang activity that wants to center around distribution. So it's the violent crimes that's brought to attention here. It's not marijuana.
And you kind of alluded to this at least twice. You mentioned Carroll County is one of the safer counties. I believe a lot of residents do kind of target the school. When they talk about, it's getting dangerous, it's getting scary out there right now. Is that fair? I mean,
society,
we're not getting rid of the school.
Society in general is getting more dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we got a trend where crime is going down, but and particularly violent crimes, but the sale of narcotics and everything, if that increases, then violent crimes are going to increase.
Got about 4 minutes left in the program. Let me touch on gangs. That's become an issue, a bit hot topic over the last year and a half or so. Carrollton Police doing a lot of work on that. Do we see that kind of problem so much in the county as far as gangs? Obviously, you guys will help them out, but
well, yeah, we have gangs too, and but probably a lot of them are centrally located inside cities, but there's some in the counties as well. But don't forget this: the cities are in the county,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't look at it as what's in the city and what's in the county. My responsibility as sheriff is all of Carroll County, and that's in the city, in the county, or whatever. So we've got some partnerships with the city of Carrollton. We're getting a lot of intel and information on people that have identified themselves on Facebook as gang members, and so we've made some arrests on gang statutes, because that's something as well that needs to be addressed up front before it gets out of hand.
All right, we're wrapping up our program with Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley. Our big topic, the big thing we want to talk about this morning is the soup tasting event. You see that's coming up 23rd, Thursday the 23rd?
Thursday, March the 23rd. A great event. Going to be bigger than the World Series and the Super Bowl on the same day.
I'm sorry, you can't beat last year's World Series. The Cubs. How many different soups? What kind
we
of
got
variety?
3 different soups: vegetable soup, chili, French onion soup, homemade desserts. Jerry Rogers will be playing, and it'll just be a fun time.
And who's making these soups?
Kids come in free. We do our soup. Walker Meats helps us in preparation of it, but we have the same recipe we had 15 years ago by retired Sheriff Bill Lemix, retired sheriff from Clayton County. Came up with the recipe, came up with this event. So it's 15 years later, and we're going strong. So come on out and have a good time.
It's dinner time too, right? 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock?
Oh, absolutely.
And where is it?
At the Carroll County Ag Center, just across from the jail.
Just up the road from us.
Yes.
As well. Money raised at this event is going to benefit communities and schools.
Correct. It will benefit communities and schools, that's City of Carrollton school system and Carroll County school system. So it'll benefit all of those.
And if you have a nonprofit and you're listening this morning, write Terry Langley a letter and say you want to be part of it next year or want to benefit from this next year, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's true.
No, Colin, don't say that.
And media pays double.
Tickets, people want to get those early, they come by the sheriff's office.
You can buy them at the door, or you can come by the sheriff's office, either way.
$5, kids eat free. What's a kid, 12?
12 and under.
All right. Carroll County Sheriff Terry Langley, our guest this morning. Appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, thank you. I enjoy it. Always done. And by the way, I enjoy being sheriff. I got reelected since the last time I talked to you. The people of Carroll County has been great to me, and I intend to be great to them.
You've been sheriff since 2000?
I took office January of 2001.
Okay. That's as long as I've been in the state of Georgia.
Man.
Since 2001.
And we ain't run you out of Georgia
No, not yet. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening this morning. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live as well. And we'll be back on Monday. Interesting show. I'd like to tell you what it's about, but I can't remember. I know next Friday when I'll be back, we'll have Villa Rica Mayor Jeff Reese in this chair. So I hope you tune in for that as well. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay dry. Be safe. Stay tuned for national news, local news. Glenn Beck on the air from 9 until 12 on News Talk 1330. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. Have a great weekend.
National headlines, Georgia State news and sports, and the local stories you care about. News Talk 1330 WLBB, Carrollton.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. U.S. employers added a robust 235,000 jobs last month, more than expected, and wages rose at a healthy pace as well. The details from correspondent Jeremy House.
The Labor Department says the unemployment rate fell by 0.1% to 4.7% last month. More Americans launched job searches, lifting the proportion of Americans working or looking for work to the highest level in nearly a year. The healthy job growth, decent pay gains, and falling unemployment rate will make the Federal Reserve even more likely to raise short-term rates when it meets next week.
That's correspondent Jeremy House reporting. The chairman of the Conservative Republican Study Committee says he would support the GOP health care plan if only the House would adopt some amendments.
Each designed to rein in Medicaid. North Carolina Congressman Mark Walker says he would vote yes if the House adopts one amendment changing the end date for Medicaid expansion to next year. The second establishes work requirements for some recipients of Medicaid.
It's Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines. BMW is adding nearly 134,000 SUVs to a 2016 recall to fix drive shaft joints that could fail. The expanded recall covers certain X5 and X6 SUVs from the 2011 and 2014 model years.